Welcome to episode 505 of Salcedo Paranormal. And tonight I will continue talking about paranormal patterns, A to Z, and this is part 3 of this series. As always, you can find all episodes of the show along with links to social media and other ways to contact me at the podcast page, and that is salcedoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions, or topic suggestions, or stories of paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. Thank you all for listening, whether you are here for the live streams on Discord, or if you listen to the podcast or YouTube feeds, or on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. There you can hear replays of 2 episodes of the show every night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, right before Troubled Minds Radio comes on. As always, I want to thank Michael Strange, host of Troubled Minds Radio, as well as Liam Martin, host of the Exiled Minds podcast, for producing the shows and putting them up on the station, along with the music that you hear at the start and end of every show over there. So I really appreciate that. If you'd like to support the show, there are some different ways to do that. You can always share the show with others and rate and review it on your podcast platform of choice. You can also find some paranormal fiction and nonfiction books I've written, and those are available over on Amazon. I also have a Patreon page. Right now, there's just one extra episode there. I plan on doing at least one a month starting at some point in November, mid to late November, and that content will be available to everyone that signs up on any membership tier level on that page. Just another way to support the show. Also, if you'd like to do that through a one-time donation, right now the best way to do that would be through PayPal, as there are always expenses in making these shows, from equipment to research materials to travel expenses. I will be going in less than a week now to the Mid-Michigan Paracon this November 4th and 5th. That's the Saturday and Sunday as I record this. And that's in Mount Pleasant, Michigan at the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. I will be there most of the day Saturday and then part of the day on Sunday. And just making audio recordings of myself and anyone else that wants to join me to talk about all things paranormal. And then, of course, I will share those recordings on future shows once I get back home. So looking forward to that. I have no idea what to expect, but I am excited to see what that is all about. So you're all welcome if you can still get tickets. I don't know how many tickets are left to meet me there if you're able. And if not, and if you'd like to still support the show, again, PayPal is the way to do that right now if you'd like to help sort of offset some of those expenses, as so many people have already done. Really appreciate that. And you all know who you are. And I think that covers everything. Again, this is part 3 in this series of shows where I'm reviewing this just selected entries from this website called Paranormal Encyclopedia. And each entry has its own page, but just even the basic entry has been enough sort of to talk about those descriptions and just my thoughts on them and everything. And again, everyone has to do their own research to look into sort of what they feel is, I think, accurate about a lot of these terms, because depending on who you ask, there can be differences. So I really like this website. I think it's a great starting off point for research and conversation into regarding all things paranormal, and in some cases the occult and other areas as well, cryptozoology, and then aliens, all those different things. There's a lot of stuff in this website, and not even probably getting through, I don't even know, a quarter of it, probably even less in the series, just going through the basic definitions or descriptions and picking out the ones that seem like the most some of the most important ones to me, as far as major terms or major thoughts in the paranormal or supernatural. So that's what I've been doing this last couple of days, and this is the third part of that series. So I guess that means I can get right to this here. And so we finished the letter J yesterday in the last night's show. And so moving on to the letter K. I don't believe there was a ton in here. I wanted to, there's only one, and it's something we already sort of mentioned, I think it was yesterday. And that is Curlian photography, which is named after apparently someone by that last name, actually. Controversial, so it's a controversial technique to photograph a person's aura or biofield. And I like that name for sort of that energy around a person, biofield. It seems like it's sort of a mix of scientific and also sort of paranormal as well. I like that word. So that's really all I had for the letter K there. So some of these we're going to move through real fast, and others I think will take longer, as you'll see here as we get further into this. So moving on to the letter L. Again, not a ton here I wanted to go into. Does mention a couple different things here. First of all, sort of one of those many figures that are seen in one of these figures that I talked about yesterday, where they're collectively known, at least to some people, as fairies. This next one here is leprechaun. And this is in Irish mythology, an elf-like creature. Elves also, for anyone that's not aware, are sort of in that same people. A lot of people put them in that same subgroup of fairies, which in general just seems to mean these figures that are not quite as tall as people are, as human people are, regular human beings are in a lot of cases. They say 1 meter tall here. So, but then going down this here, there's a few more in this one I wanted to touch on for sure. The next one is levitation, and that is the raising of a body into the air without physical aid. And this I've heard of this done through various kinds of sort of spiritual practices over the years, and in some rare cases, but also this ability that some entities seem to have to lift objects into the air without physical means to do so. And in some more extreme cases, that of course are the ones that a lot of horror TV shows and movies want to cover. There are rare cases, and it's rare, I think, overall, a lot more rare than the TV shows and movies like to have you think. People have been supposedly levitated, and of course, those are more negative encounters. But so yeah, there's that word as well. But just if you think about if people see objects that appear to, when they appear to be rising up off of a surface without any aid, and of course, that's levitation in a way. So this next one here is something that comes up a lot for a lot of reasons, I think. And we'll get into this here. It says ley lines. That's Ley in this spelling anyway, ley lines. And it says patterns and alignments of invisible energy said to connect various sacred locations, such as churches, stone circles, burial grounds, and others. And this is something that comes up, like I said, just constantly whenever there's sort of, we're looking into the larger picture of how mysterious experiences or encounters or events happen around the world. These seem to be brought up, and it's sort of one of those things where it's almost a cliche in the paranormal, but also may not be wrong either. I think there is something to that. I don't know how it works, but I do believe, based on just people I've talked to who've had experiences, other people who've just been researching all these things, I think that they exist in some form. So just that's just based on what I've heard and read, and over the years, almost 3 years, by the way, um, of doing this show. It'll be 3 years as of the next show that we do tomorrow night, which will be, I think what I'm going to do with, by the way, with tomorrow night's show, with the Halloween show, is just go through the last of whatever is left of this encyclopedia. The last of the letters. I'll just go a little bit long, and finish it off. And then we'll do something different for Wednesday's show to kick off November, even though there's going to be a little break after Wednesday's show. But still, I want to make sure I do at least one show to start off November. Anyway, so that'll be Wednesday. But the next one here they have is something that we've all heard of, I'm sure, just about, and that is the Loch Ness Monster. And that is a legendary creature said to inhabit the Scottish lake Loch Ness. So, and there's a lot of discussion about that. The last one here, literally the last one in the L's, is lycanthropy. In folklore, the ability of a person to change into animal form. In psychiatry, it says the delusion of having been transformed into an animal. So they sort of have two different definitions there. And that just goes to cryptids. That just goes to this idea of human-like creatures or humans that can turn into creatures of different kinds. So that takes care of the L's. So move on to the next one here. And hope you all have been enjoying this series. And I'm enjoying doing this myself because it's something different to do, but also it's sort of an overview of what we talk about in this show and other shows a lot as it is anyway. So I think this is working hopefully well for everyone to have this series here going on right around this time of year. So going on to the M's. There's definitely more than a few words here and things here to talk about in this letter. And first one here, of course, is magic. And that's a broad term with many varying definitions. In short, any art which seeks to influence the physical world through the use of supernatural phenomena. So that is a neat definition. I think that's trying to tackle that kind of a definition is hard no matter what you do. But I can't argue with what they say there either. So, and of course, the next one I want to cover here is magician. And they say a person who practices some form of magic. In popular culture, a magician is an entertainer, although this type of magician is more properly referred to as an illusionist. So what they're talking about there is people that can perform tricks, what they call magic tricks, where there is no paranormal involved, where it's all physical effects that and misdirection and different things. I'm not an expert on any of this, but I kind of get the basic idea. But there's also the idea of, again, the first part of that definition there, a person who practices some form of magic. In other words, working with basically the unseen world, usually unseen world, to get certain things done. So that's basically how my mind sort of wraps around that term there. Moving on here, I'm going to skip down a little bit. Okay, this next one here is, let's see here. Okay, so this next one here is materialization. And this is the appearance of objects or living beings from thin air. It was also a popular trick in seances in the late 19th and early 20th century. But also, if you think about this, this is sort of connected to in the very beginning of this series a couple nights ago, talking about apports and asports. I'm not sure how you say that exactly, but the vanishing and then reappearing of solid objects, and in a way that we can't explain. That's part of that. That's associated with that, I think, for the most part there. This next one here I wanted to mention is something I did a show on a while ago with Michael Strange. It was a fun show, and definitely look into that if you are interested. And that is Men in Black, and it's a phenomena associated with UFO sightings in which men dressed in black appear. It is claimed these men assist in cover-ups and discourage witnesses from speaking publicly. This phenomena was made famous in the Men in Black movies. I would say in the paranormal, supernatural kind of that world, it's been famous for a bit longer than that, but I do the movies definitely didn't help or didn't hurt with that either. And the thing that this definition, and I don't blame them because it's a lot to get into. It doesn't sort of mention there is that these figures that are dressed in black, they at different times seem to one degree or another, to lesser or greater degree, to possibly be something other than humans, or at least there's qualities about them that are not do not seem like they're human. So just wanted to point that out as well. Funny enough, the next one I want to mention here is Mothman, and for anyone who has looked into the whole series of events in Point Pleasant, let me see here. I think it says here, yeah, it does. Okay, Point Pleasant, West Virginia. I always, especially right now, because I'm thinking of Mount Pleasant, Michigan, I get those two sort of mixed up in my mind. But I'll just read the definition here and we'll go from there. And it says, a creature reportedly sighted numerous times in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, in the U.S. between November of 1966 and November of 1967. Mothman was said to be a man-sized creature with wings and large, reflective, or luminous eyes. There's a whole story there we won't get into, but I will just say that if you're looking for an amazing book, just about all kinds of high strangeness, UFOs, this Mothman creature, definitely pick up the Mothman Prophecies, I believe is the name of the book, because there's Men in Black in there. It's quite the book, and about a series of experiences that I have no idea what was going on there. But so yeah, just definitely recommend that book there. Going on to the last two entries here, I want to mention. This next one is also sort of associated with UFOs and or in some cases cryptids, I believe, maybe not so much there, but definitely UFOs, and that's mystery helicopters. Unmarked helicopters, often colored black, which have been reported flying near the scenes of unusual paranormal activity, such as cattle mutilations and UFO sightings. So, and that is something I've heard about, where these craft happen to be there before, during, or after sightings of strange events going on. Also, I've heard of somewhere there are objects in the sky that appear to be helicopters, except they're not making any noise. And in some rare cases, I believe they seem to shapeshift in some way, so that it's hard to say if it really is even a helicopter that's in the air there in that situation. So just wanted to bring that up as well. And the last entry in the letter M is mythology. And this is important. I'll go into why in a second here. And it says the accumulated collection of myths, folklore, legends, and ancient stories from a given culture. And this is something I really want to get back into at some point, mythology from around the world, because I wonder in so many of these stories of things that people talk about, if there's not some kind of a truth about paranormal activity from who knows how far back, built into these stories of and these, again, it mentions myths, folklore, legends, and ancient stories, where maybe there was some paranormal entity or figure that any given myth was based on. So that's why I am really interested in mythology in general, just in case there's a chance that there may be some kind of reality to mythology in any way. So that takes care of the M's, and we'll move on to the N's. If I'm not mistaken, there's not a ton here I wanted to go into. Yeah. So it mentions, of course, nature spirits, and that it says spirits said to exist in nature, usually invisible to mortals, may be good or evil. And so this again goes back to similar, but I don't know if it's the same, because I think words can be tricky with that. To in the first episode, maybe it was the second one. Either way, one of these last two episodes where elementals were mentioned. So, but I'm not sure if it's the same or if they're sort of connected or what's going on there. But just wanted to bring that up. Another one here is necromancy, and it says that's a method of divination by raising the spirits of the dead. So, lots of ways you can go with that category right there. That is one thing I don't know a ton about, so I'm just going to leave that one there. So let's see here. I think that's going to be it. I guess we can do this last one here. Numerology, an ancient method of using numbers to analyze people's character and motivation in life. And that's something that has been coming up over the last few years. I've been sort of talking to people and doing research into different things. I do not understand much of it at all. But numbers do seem to pop up in association with synchronicities and other events. Sometimes directly paranormal, other times not so much. But that does seem to be sort of possibly connected in a way. Whether it's direct or not, I don't know. But yeah, so I just wanted to mention that one as well. And so yeah, I think there's 3 letters left I had pulled up for today. And okay, so now in the O's here, the occult, something that is hidden, secret or reserved knowledge. So that's that. And I think that basically covers everything that I'd want to talk about in the letter O. So that's another one knocked out there. And that's going to do it for today. Thank you all for listening. And I will talk to you all on the next episode of Salcedo Paranormal. Take care.